Hello everyone, Mr. G here. Making a little training video to show you how to make our next assignment in Microsoft Excel, which I want you to name as Student ID Investment. There's an instruction sheet on the website along with this video and a sample. I'm going to go by the instruction sheet and pretty much follow that so that you can follow it the same way. So number one on the instruction sheet, enter the column headings as shown in row 1. So these column headings, just type them in and make them look nice. Enter the last 3 digits of your student ID in cell E3. So I put in 400. Imagine I was a student and my student ID is 18400. I leave out the 1 and the 8. I put in the 400. Then in cell F3, enter the formula E3 plus 2000. This should give you a reasonable yearly investment value. On the sample spreadsheet, the last 3 digits of an ID of 400 were used to give an annual investment of 2400, which equals a monthly investment of 200, which is considered fairly reasonable. Your yearly and monthly values will be different based on using your last 3 digits of your own student ID. So do not, repeat, do not use 400. That's mine. You use yours. So if your student ID is 16389, over here you put 389, which I'm going to do as an example. And if you look at the chart right here, you're going to see it change a little bit. 389 is not too far from 400, so it didn't change a lot. Let's say your student ID is 18123. If I put in 123, you'll see that the chart that now goes up to 800,000 only goes up to 700,000. Because the number is so much lower. If your student ID is 20989, you'll notice that this 7 is going to go back to 8, may even go to 9. Probably does go to 9. Oh, it goes to 1,000,000. The graph doesn't actually go up that high, but it allows for that. So depending on your number, obviously people with higher numbers make more money, people with lower numbers make less money. So I went almost in the middle. The reason why I chose 400 is because when you take that 400 and you add 2000 to it, you get 2400, and that gives me a nice clean monthly investment total of 200, and that's what I wanted so that I can explain things to you. Okay, so number 4 on the instruction sheet, enter your monthly investment total. Don't just enter a number there. You have to have a formula that calculates from yearly to monthly. So that should be a pretty obvious thing. And whatever your monthly investment total is, it is based on your yearly investment total. Okay, it's the same number, just looked at it a different way. You can say you make $10 a day or $50 a week. It's the same thing if you work 5 days, obviously. So saying it one way or saying it the other way, you're really saying the same thing. And that's what I'm talking about here. So you guys figure that out. So now on to the next part. To do the next part, what I want to do is get rid of all this stuff so I can show you how to do it because it's already in there. So I'm going to delete that and then come back. Okay, so what I deleted was all the months of the year, and I also deleted the chart. So what I'm going to do over here is type Jan 2003. Make sure you use the 4-digit year. If you don't, it's going to think you mean the day in the year instead of the year. Instead of the month in the year, and it's going to go up by days when you drag it. And we want it to go up by months. So click back on this, get your black plus sign, drag it down. We're not just going to row 33, we're going down lots of ways. So you got to go past the bottom of the screen and then it will scroll. The further down you go, the faster it will scroll. And if you go past where you want to go, just go back up. Now where do you want to go? You want this little flag to the right of my black plus sign to say December 2032, and that should be row 363. So let go, and then it's all filled in. And scroll back up to the top. Okay, this formula right here, now that you have that, in cell B4 it says enter into cell B4 the formula G3 to give you the same value of your monthly investment. So whatever's here should be over there. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Whatever you put in a month is what you'll have the first month you start your investment. You can't have anything else because you just got started. The next month though, you do have other things. What's the other things you have? Well, you don't lose the 200 you had to begin with. So that stays in there. You also are going to add another 200 to this. So you have what you had the month before, You add in how much you put in every month, but then you also get this nice thing called interest. And I've listed that as 12% annual. So the third thing you have to add in is your interest. Now I'm not going to give you the formula. I want you to think about it and figure that formula out. Once you get this formula, drag it down. In fact, don't drag it all the way to the bottom. Drag it down like a year. When you get down to a year, you should have a little bit more than your yearly investment. If you have less than your yearly investment, your formula is wrong. If you have way, way, way more than your yearly investment, then your formula is wrong. If you have a little bit more, like I have 2536, so you can see at the end of a year I've put in 2400, but because I did it monthly, I was earning interest a little bit each month, so I made $36.50 in interest. Okay, so that's what you should expect. A little bit more, a little bit less, somewhere around $100 or whatever in interest. But if you got thousands in interest, way, way, way over your yearly investment after 1 year, something's wrong. And again, if it's less than this, then something's obviously wrong too, because how could you have less than you put in? So once you verified your formula is working, drag it to the bottom. Do the same thing here and here. You can see the numbers are the same. We just start at 1 year less. And the reason why I want you to start 1 year less is because that chart's going to illustrate the difference in these investments. One person starting and doing it for 30 years, and then his buddy who decided to wait 1 year, how much money did he lose? Well, those are formulas you're going to put over here. They're pretty simple. Just think about it. The difference between 30-year total and 29-year total. So the total all the way at the bottom of the sheet. Okay? The difference between those, 30 years and 29 years, $80,000. 30 years and 28 years, $152,000. So if I start and I do it for 30 years and you say, hey, Garino, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not listening to you. So you wait. And then the next year you say, you know what, I still don't know. I still don't think he knows what he's talking about, so you wait. Then you say, you know what, I think I'll get started. So you start 2 years after me. Realize we're both putting in $2,400 a year. So if you skip 1 year, you save $2,400. Good for you. You skip 2 years, you save another $2,400. That's almost $5,000. But at the end of our investment, when we're both ready to retire and live in Florida and pull our pants up to our boobies, guess what? I've made $152,000 more. So when we complain about the government, you'll be complaining a little bit more because you won't have as much money as me. All right? So the point is, get started early. Of course, it's a very hard thing to do because when you're young, you really don't have that much money because you got a lot of responsibilities. You went to college loans, all that stuff, whatever. The point of the matter is, it'd be great to start when you're really young and put in tons of money when you're really young. It's just a hard thing to do. So everyone should do the best they can, the most they can, and hope for the best. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. Okay, so how do we do the chart? Now that we got all our formulas in and all our values all the way down to the bottom, row 363. You click here with the white plus sign and you hold it down. You go all the way over to column D and all the way down to the bottom. And again, the further down you drag, the faster it goes. Stop there. Don't get anything extra. And before you do insert chart, if you do it now, it puts it here. And then you can't see it at the top. And to drag it at the top takes forever. So before you go to insert the chart, drag this back up to the top. Now you go up to insert. And then instead of a column chart, think about it. If you do a column chart, you're going to have a column for every data point. That's 360 here, 360 here, 360 here. That's 1,080 columns. There's going to be so many on the screen, you're not going to be able to distinguish between one another. It's just going to look like a glob of lines, of columns, I should say. So what type of chart do you use? A line chart. Because a line chart, you can have an infinite, in fact, you should know from math that all lines have an infinite amount of points on them. So you can have an infinite amount of points or a very, very whole lot of points on a line and it's still just a line. Not so with columns and pies and bars. So a line chart is good. The fancy ones always get sort of complicated, so I like to choose just the basic one. And when I click it, it puts it right there. Now, how do you make it look pretty? Well, you guys already know how to put pictures and textures in the back. We already have our numbers, and it says dollars. We have our months, so we really don't need axis titles. But we could use a chart title. And I showed you that in the other one, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. But again, somewhere over here, chart title. Okay. These things over here, though. Last time we only had one series, so I said, just delete this because it doesn't make sense to distinguish one thing from nothing else. But now we have three series, and we want to distinguish what's the blue line, what's the red line, what's the green line. And you can do that. You can right-click on here. Well, I clicked on it first, and then right-click. And you might think it would be Format Legend. But Format Legend gives you just formatting it. It doesn't change what it lists here, meaning the fact that it says Series 1. You can change the style, the color, the borders, the glow, and left and right and all that, but you can't change what it says by saying Format Legend. You have to go to Select Data. If you notice over here, it says Series 1. Well, click on that and say Edit. And then instead of Series 1, we're going to call it 30 years. And then say OK. And see how it changes over here? So you do the same thing for Series 2. It's going to be 29 years. And then Series 3, 28 years. Okay, so that's how you change the legend. You guys know how to make it look pretty in the background. You can make this little bigger one way or the other if my mouse starts being so jumpy. That way it looks kind of flat. I kind of like making it, and this is good for like a sales technique if you're into sales and marketing. You want to illustrate that, hey, as you get into this thing, you start really making money. So if you squash it this way, it looks like you're really going up fast, okay? Whereas this way, it kind of, sorry about that. It doesn't look so pronounced, it's because it's kind of flat. So if you're trying to sell this to someone, I kind of think it's better. You don't want to get too carried away. You don't want to make it look stupid, the chart. But I think this way looks better because you're showing someone, hey, look, you put in money for like 10 years and all of a sudden this investment starts paying for itself. You start making really mad money. Look at the way it goes up over there. In fact, if you look over here, if we go back over here, after we started in 2003, so if we go to like 2013 somewhere, you'll see, let's go to 60,000, which is 11 years, let's say, because it's easier for me to think in my head. 60,500 to 61,300. You made 800 bucks in a month. You put in 200, so you made 600 bucks worth of interest. Let's go down to, and if we look at the chart, January 2023, that's where this arc starts going up kind of good. So if we go down to January 2023, somewhere around here, 240,500, 243,000. So that's like $2,600. Take away the 200. You made $2,400 in 1 month just of your interest. If you go all the way down to the bottom, look how much money you're making. Almost $7,000 in a month. In a month, just on your interest. So the point is, once you start making money, you can really start making money off of the money you already have there. In fact, who even needs to put in 200 bucks a month when you're making $7,000 in a month? You don't even have to put in the $200 anymore. It becomes self-sufficient. Okay, and that's what we're trying to illustrate here, that at some point the money you're putting in doesn't matter because this thing just takes off. And if you were trying to sell this to people, that's what you want to show. So that's why making the chart more narrow and showing these lines swooping up a little faster is kind of a better selling point. It's the same exact chart, it's the same exact data, but perception, it looks better. And that's why I'm leaving it like this, but you guys make it pretty. Put the background picture, you can format the plot area, you can format the whole chart, you can do whatever you want, make it look pretty. You're trying to sell this, so if you're trying to sell it, make it look engaging enough for someone to buy it. And so of course, when you're all done, call me over, I'll check it off. Please have all the formulas working and have your chart in the top there looking really nice, and then call me over, so I'll be very happy. Thank you.